Bitcoin update on the short time frame 4-hour chart first, because when will the pain stop? Let's take a look at it. We're going to zoom out later and we'll look at the macro, but first and foremost, like, where the hell is the bottom? We could be close, so let's look for the evidence both for and against that. You always want to look at both sides of the coin, right? Never be too biased either way. So we're at 92K. We've hit this level many times over the past, as we get to the daily, right, we'll look at more of that level. But what you want to be paying attention to is, one, the Bollinger Bands, right? This top band is not quite convincing that we're going to continue down a whole lot longer, right? You want this mouth wide open, and even though it's, wide open, you want them diverging from each other, right? You see how this one goes up, this one's going down, but that even there is kind of weird looking, right? To get massive move, and if we were going to go down a lot longer, or potentially a lot longer, that band would need to be pointing like straight up, right? Just like this one's pointing pretty much straight down, right? You'd want to see kind of a mirror image of that. So we don't have that. So what does that mean? This is going to be more or less, depending on the time frame. We're looking at the 4-hour chart, so not too long, not too short. We're looking at a relatively soon next multiple candles, right, before we bottom. Doesn't mean we have to keep going lower. What are we looking for signs? Well, this was a good chance right here, where you see that pierce outside the Bollinger Band, then we recovered. That was a chance of the bulls fighting back, and right, we didn't get it, right? No bulls followed through on that one, and instead we just kept selling, right? And I have evidence of that. You see at the bottom here, volume. Look at the red spikes. This blue line is the average. You're getting way above average sell volume here, so that's going to continue it lower, right? Massive move, double. We're looking at like double the average sell volume. Prices keep going down. We're about at average right now. We closed this candle in about 2 hours, 11 a.m. Eastern. So depending on when you watch this, go check that out. Did we close way above, or is this trend gonna, start to die down here, right? You can see the volume is dying, but we still got to be under average to see a potential bottom. Now we are coming into bigger support here, as I said. Now, if we go much lower, is there anything major lower? Well, yeah. You see this line right down here? Well, let's remove the volume. What the hell would that line be? I'm glad you asked. That's the 600 EMA. Usually it's the 200 is the major one. That's way up here in the pink. The 600 is huge. So that's 87.5 roughly on the 4-hour. I don't know if we can get down there that far. Tomorrow is a major news event for the US dollar, right? Unemployment claims is massive. It's Friday, 8:30 Eastern time. We're probably going to see some volatility, I would say. Maybe that's the catalyst to reverse sharply to the upside, perhaps. Or we see a kind of a Darth Maul, both directions, right? Just a whipsaw, right? Could be tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, or whenever the hell you're watching this. It could already have passed. Go check it out. But that is kind of our spot that we'd be looking for, okay? How about one other thing to help us out? Let's look for like maybe a Fibonacci, like extension or reversal right here, right? We have our swing high to swing low. These are rough. You can see our one here. If we go all the way down here, we have 85.5. We have 87.5. So somewhere in that zone would be, major on the 4-hour, right? And the 4-hour is not that major, right? But let's keep this on here just to see if this plays out at all on the daily chart. Coincidentally, we obviously the fibs are the same. We don't need that anymore, but there's our zone. But look at the top. That 600 EMA on the 4-hour is the 100 EMA on the daily. So the 100-day EMA at 87,365 as of right now also corresponds to way back over here, our initial low set and our first low after this uptrend. So this is going to be huge. That would be about the lowest I would see us going. Even with a wick, like I'm not much lower than that. I wouldn't think so. Based on the context of where we are in the cycle, and I think we have much more higher prices coming. This is to kind of shake you out if you're not ready for Valhalla, right? We got to get rid of all the haters and the speculators before you get paid off. So this is just the initial kind of check here, right? Look at the Bollinger Bands, right? That's kind of a warning that we're not quite ready to keep going yet, right? See how much they closed up right as we were going up here? Harsh rejection. And then let's check and look at the volume here. Above average, slightly, but still not as bad as that 4 hour, but still slightly above average sell volume. Trends can continue down, certainly if you're seeing above average buy or sell. Not that you need it to continue a trend, but it's definitely going to help you. So now, looking at this level, where we're at now, right? So far, so good on the bounce, 92.5. We bounced a little bit here. But depending on when you watch this, we'll see if this bounce is a real one, and we are getting ready to go back up again for, the next several days, maybe longer, or is this short-lived and we're going to come down more? Right? Lower Bollinger Band open, top Bollinger Band not open. Again, saying it's a little more sketchy. The odds would be like we go back to equilibrium, which I would say, about half of this. 96K, something thereabouts. You can see the median Bollinger Band is kind of right in there as well. That's the 20 SMA. We got to flip back above that to get more bullish by definition. So that's just above 96. Swing lows, like look at how many touch points. Previous swing high resistance, flip to swing low support. Support even on that wild Darth Maul candle, right? That's the candle I was talking about. We might see that again tomorrow, potentially, to both directions, right? Another touch, right on the 50. We breached the 50, went right to this line again. 92K. We'll see if it can hold for an 84th time today, right? Let's see where we close today. Ideally, if we're looking for a major reversal and we want to go see, 100K plus again, like really soon, we got to close above the 50 today. So 94.4. And we'd see like these back-to-back long wicks. That would be great, right? Look like right here. When you get like back-to-back matching wicks like that, good chance of a reversal there. Again, we're just trying to increase our odds because nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. But that's all TA is really useful for, to try to play the odds in your favor or favor of, whatever the charts are saying, right? Then you can decide if that's on your side or not. Okay, so a lot of you just chop here, right? And you could really get messed up here if you're over trading this. In no trend, which this has been no trend since really November, right? We've just been going sideways pretty much. Chop, right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, right? When there's no trend, you should be on the sidelines, really. If you're trying to get in and you think you're going higher, which I do, right? You just get in and sit on your hands. Just get in and stop thinking about it on a daily basis. And you're waiting for the future, higher prices, and you're not worried about what the hell happens in the meantime. Dollar cost average on red days, great. All right, so here's our significant levels, right? You can note them. Watch this back. Once we break new all-time highs again, I think we're off to the races. Alt season probably in full swing once we get back up here again. That's coming sooner than later, right? Don't get shaken out now. Holy hell. Okay, let's go to the 3-day. Another significant level. The 21 EMA on the 3-day chart is right here at 92,776 as of right now. Watch for a close. This candle, a 3-day candle, closes today. We want to hold that. That's pretty significant on a 3-day chart. We don't want to be messing around with that. And coincidentally, like this 92K is kind of right in that same wheelhouse. So we're 92.7 on that yellow 21 EMA. 92 for our multiple tap, 87th tap, right? That's what we're looking for. But what else do we see that stands out here? Look at those Bollinger Bands. Probably the narrowest we've seen in, obviously, months. Maybe a real long time. I think it's even more narrow than right here. So, in my opinion, based on this, Bollinger Bands, where this means low volatility, right? The more tighter, the more narrow these bands get, the less volatility, which tells me we're about done with the low. We could potentially come down here, right, to those key averages we looked at on the 4-hour and the daily. Alerts triggering. And that kind of backs up that major moving average. Remember that 600 on the 4-hour, right? That we talked about first. That's also the EMA 34 on the 3-day and right at the lower Bollinger Band. So we have major support, just high probability of not going lower than that. Hopefully we don't go lower than this, right? Hopefully the bottom is in right now, right? And maybe we're seeing that, right? We're up almost $1,000 really since we past 15 minutes. Okay, so that's a good sign. We want to see some follow through. We've got to see the bulls show up on the low time frame. But the fact that these are so narrow tells me that we're going to have a bigger move in the next 1 to 2 weeks, right? You got to have context of the chart you're looking at. This is a 3-day chart, right? 1 to 2 weeks is like, handful of candles here, right? So another handful of candles, we should see these bands open and we should have a bigger move. Now, which side? We don't know, but we're favoring the upside, right? Because of, weekly chart. Let's just go look at it, right? Massive move, breakout, consolidation before the next move higher based on we've been consolidating above the EMA 8 on the weekly. And speaking of, that's where we need to hold this weekly close. So that's at 93.4 as of right now. So you can see we're testing that right there. If we can close there or higher, everything's still green light. We're above all moving averages and been holding that upper Bollinger Band on the weekly scale for many weeks. Very powerful on the bull side. Not likely you're just going to give that up immediately or for long, right? So we're down. We're down considerably off the highs, much more than we really even need to be. A test of the EMA 8 is all you really need to do to remain healthy. So we're down, really down over 15% from those highs, right? Test the EMA 8, couple weeks, blast off again. Absolutely could happen. Should happen. All right, in the not so distant future. So again, if you're worried, zoom out to the bigger time frames. You want to go to even bigger? Let's go to the monthly. Like 8 months consolidation into the EMA 8. Breakout. Consolidation for a month. This month, not likely. Not likely 2 months after a breakout. I think we're going to see a bigger move here in the not so distant future and likely to the upside based on the context of where we are in the cycle. This is the start of phase 3, right? The start of phase 2 was right here. You don't have a whole lot of downside in retrospective. Started phase 1. We had a little bit of volatility there, right? There's 1 month pause. Look how much we went down and then came back up here. We could potentially do that again. If we did, right, we might see those mid to upper 80s, and then we end up closing at back over 100 at the end of the month. Imagine that. Something very similar to the start of phase 1. Big breakout, pause for a month, fake out to the downside, close way higher. Breakout, pause for a month, maybe we fake out down and then close way higher. It's happened before, even in this same damn run. But usually when you start these phases, you don't have a whole lot of downside, right? Start of the new phase here, breakout. Got a little bit of a downside right there. Look, we almost tested the EMA 8. Right in the shotgun that we were moving higher. Words are hard. But look, just keeping that in mind, like we even tested the EMA 8 there. Look at where we are. We're well above the EMA 8. Think back to how powerful that 2021 cycle was, and we were like constantly right at the EMA 8. That would be the equivalent of prices in the low 80s right now. We're in the 90s. You can't be bearish here. There's just no proof of it yet on the high time frames. Low time frames, you could argue, but it's the low time frames. Like, who cares? Everything goes up and down, right? We're just consolidating, shaking all the weaker paper straw snowflake-handed out before the diamonds show up and catapult us higher. All right. Questions, comments, thoughts? let me know below. If you want more help, you want daily updates. I mean, many updates every day in our silver group through Patreon. You can find that link below. If you have any questions, happy to see you there, right? A lot of more education there. Try to teach you what's going on in the charts. And, I've been in crypto almost 8 years now. I'm a level 1 chartered market technician. And I've seen it all. So I'm trying to do my best to help you avoid all that shit. And keep you level-headed throughout all this, okay? So we talk about, altcoins, altcoin market caps, total market caps, Tether dominance, altcoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance, and you can request any of your altcoins you want. And we talk about all that on a daily basis. So try it out for a month. New year. Make this year the year you don't lose. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to lose this year. We're going to go much higher. The snowflake hands are almost done. And then to the moon. All right, quote and card of the day. I almost forgot. Holy hell. Quote of the day. If we desire respect for the law, we must first make the law respectable. Touche. Card of the day. Let's get me out of here. Dodge Viper. That was a pretty good one. Pretty good spec there. I think I got a better one. Sunset. Let's zoom in on that guy. That looks pretty nasty. That's a pretty cool color. You don't see that too much. This is a Hennessy. So what's Hennessy? They supercharge it and they put a little bit extra kit on it. I would definitely have to do this if I got a Viper. One of the best American-made, I'd call it a supercar. Certainly if it's made by Hennessy. Supercharged. You can put these things over 1,000 horsepower pretty easy. Certainly with Hennessy. Into the sunset. Faster than the speed of light. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.